If you like pina coladas. Sorry, just singing a little Jimmy Buffett, y'all, because I'm in a great mood today, y'all. Let me pass that on to y'all through the TV screen here, through the phone or iPad. You sitting on the toilet watching this video, or you listening to it on the way in the car. Listen, I know how we all take in YouTube videos. Been there. So anyway, and something else. Can anyone relate? I can't get all the dog hair off of my clothes, y'all. It's driving me nuts today. One of my dogs shed so much. I think you can relate. Anyway, let's get to some UFOs, y'all, because Ryan Graves put out a tweet that I think we're all going to want to take a look at. Ryan Graves famously is a former fighter pilot, who testified with David Grush and David Fravor. Remember back in July 2023, right? He's still on the scene. And he put out a tweet that I do want to cover because apparently as he's putting it, a new whistleblower came forward detailing an aircraft, a private plane that took off from Florida, South Florida, and encountered an object that literally made contact with, and parts of it got stuck in his aircraft, in part of the engine. We'll get to all the details here in a moment. They had to turn back around and land. And so let's just jump into the details of this, y'all. All right, but before we do that, real quick, I just have a quick channel announcement. Please, I'm going to put a link in the description for a new vetted channel that we have called Vetted Clips. I'm trying to get that up in subscribers. So we have hired Daniel, who was our head mod, to help run the Vetted Clips, and he's been putting up these amazing clips from past vetted interviews and different stuff on there. So I really need to get y'all's support, y'all. If y'all subscribe to this channel, please do me a favor and go down in the description and subscribe to this channel as well. If you want to support Vetted, that will really help out a lot. I promise you. That would really help us out. So again, I'll put a link down below. Please go subscribe to this channel. I'm going to keep bringing it up a lot to remind you. So if you want me to stop reminding you, go subscribe. You'll save a life, okay? You hit that subscribe button, you'll save a life, all right? Daniel's life, because his life is on the line, okay? I'm kidding. Anyway, let's get back to the video, y'all. So Ryan Graves tweets out, a whistleblower came to ASA, which stands for Americans for Safe Aerospace, okay? That's a nonprofit that he runs. Regarding a mid-air collision between a Gulfstream jet and an unidentified metallic object that occurred off the coast of Florida on December 11th, 2024, at approximately 27,000 feet and resulted in engine failure and an emergency landing. There are indications that the unidentified object may have been a drone operating off the East Coast with atypical characteristics. The whistleblower is concerned because this altitude is highly regulated Class A airspace that requires flight plans and transponders. But in this instance, there was no flight plans for the object, and the object was not transponding. We can largely eliminate the possibility of common objects because a weather balloon would have been transponding. This altitude is too high for hobby drones and illegal for any drone. There is no biological indicator of a bird strike. Video of the engine shows metal damage. I am concerned the incident is being downplayed by FAA. The report is being classified as an incident and not an accident, which would require public announcement, investigation by NTSB, and an explanation. What is going on here? And then he tags different people here, even Donald Trump there. Major air safety events should be handled transparently. Okay, wow. So basically, we've got a plane that took off from Florida. Again, an object hits the plane. That plane then has to divert back and land, make an emergency landing, right? And when they check the engine, they don't find any sort of, they find metallic pieces within this, right? So look, we've got some more details on this, and Ryan answered some questions down below in this tweet. Let's take a look at some of those as well. So the first comment asks, Was there any debris from the metal object left in the plane that could undergo analysis to help determine the source? Thanks for everything you do. Ryan Graves. Yes. A safe landing after an engine failure only is considered an accident if the cowling is damaged or punctured, right? Seems like I remember John and Martha mentioning this in my King's course, LOL. Ryan Graves responds, it was described to us as the object being substantial enough to penetrate the fan blades and significantly damage the internals of the engine. There's also a report of a large circular indentation on the leading edge of the engine intake, indicative of a substantial metallic object impacting the intake. Another comment reads, wow, Ryan, is this whistleblower willing to go public at some point? Ryan Graves responds, I'd like to hear from the pilot. He's then asked, I wonder if any residual particles from the unidentified object collision were observed on the impacted areas of the Gulfstream, and if so, if they were analyzed for material types. Ryan Graves responds, foreign object debris was embedded into the engine cowling. All right, and then Ryan, in this same tweet, includes a photo of the flight path, which you can see right here. Now, I went on Reddit under a different subreddit for flight tracking and whatever, and they were kind of looking at this, and someone had made a little video, screen recording of the flight path, and basically somewhere along this, line right here, right where they're turning, is when the object strikes, and they have to then turn around and just head right back to land, right? And according to the Aviation Safety Network right here, which you could see, this object is being described, officially, right? And I think this is what Ryan was getting at. According to this, the narrative is the aircraft struck a bird or UAS, and post-flight inspection revealed damage to the right engine cowling, right? And look, I found some pictures of the actual plane, okay, because they put the registration number of the plane. So I found the actual plane. And as you can see in this photo, right, this is the engine cowling they're talking about right here. Somewhere in this area, this, an object went in and hit it, which kind of helps you determine the size of it, right? Clearly, it didn't just take off the whole engine; it went inside, so it was small enough to fit inside of this engine cowling. And while I couldn't find the exact, height of the engine cowling itself, the height of that plane is 25 feet. So it's probably 10% of it. Probably 3 to 6 feet would be my guess of the size of this object, or at least under 6 feet, right? Somewhere in there. Which is interesting. That's pretty big, right? Somewhere in that range. I'm sure someone who's a pilot or something can figure out the specifications. Put it down in the comments. I'll pin it to the top so we could try to determine exactly the size of this thing, potentially, just based off of that, right? So anyway, I don't know. This is interesting, right? This kind of collision. Right. So will more information come out? Will that pilot come forward? I think just like a lot of these stories, I'm glad they came forward, and I'm glad they're presenting this. We just need a little more information. But look, if you're flying a plane and something strikes it, that's scary. Right. That's a passenger's worst nightmare to think about something like that, and more for a pilot as well. I'm glad they were close enough after takeoff to be able to head back to where they were. Right. But what objects are floating around at that height, right, that are illegally operating? What is it? What is going on, right? So I'm glad that this was presented, and I'm glad Ryan took a little bit of time too as well to kind of get more information before he put this out, and hopefully we'll hear from the pilot and maybe get what he heard, how it went down. Did they see the object before they hit it? That sort of thing. Did any other pilots around there see something, right? Was there smoke coming out? I think there would be a lot of questions to be asked from this. So anyway, thanks again, y'all. Don't forget to subscribe to that Vetted Clips channel. Again, link in the description. And we'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep.